Hi, I'm Jeff Murrah, and I want to welcome you to True Texas History, where today, since it's April the 8th, this is the anniversary of the Battle of Mansfield. And I labeled it Saving Texas, the Battle of Mansfield, because this is a battle, although many people don't know much about, it literally saved Texas from a lot of the depredations of war. It occurred on this day, April the 8th, 1864. And what happened, the Union forces, they were planning what they call the Red River Campaign. They were going to send 20,000 troops overland, 10,000 up the Red River, and 10,000 from Arkansas. They were all going to converge in Shreveport and then mow on into Texas and devastate East Texas. And these troops, they started their campaign hoping to live off the land and just pillage Texas, because Texas had not suffered enough. And that was the thinking. And at the time, there were not a lot of forces to go ahead and protect Texas. There was, a group known as Walker's Greyhounds. There was Tom Green and his cavalry, and some other units stationed there in Louisiana, and things looked kind of bleak. Confederate leaders were begging and pleading with the Texas governor, Governor Pendleton Murrah, to release the troops. Please send us the troops, because as the war drug on, the whole idea of the state having the authority was exercised by Pendleton Murrah and many, some of the units that were stationed in Texas. They were going to wait until the governor said they could go. And, finally, Murrah went ahead and gave them the okay. And then the troops there on the battlefield were worried about whether or not the Texas troops would come in time. And fortunately, they did. Now, the plan of battle was that Tom Green's cavalry was going to engage the Yankee invasion force, because the two Yankee forces, the one on the river and the one going overland, had separated. They were going to take advantage of that circumstance. And so Tom Green's cavalry would engage them and do what amounts to a fighting retreat. Now, Tom Green had fought in the Texas Revolution. He was looked up to by the Texans. He was seen as a great hero. And he was bringing the battle on. Literally, the plan was he was going to bring that force of 20,000 men into what amounted to a vice, where on a couple of the sides, the Southern soldiers from Texas and Louisiana would catch him in a crossfire. And that was the plan. And as this was going on, a lot of things going on behind the scenes. Green brought the men onto the field, and one of the first units that went ahead and took action was General Mouton's Louisiana troops. They went ahead and attacked, suffered some setbacks, went back, and somewhere along the way, General Mouton was killed. And there's a couple of different stories. One, that a sniper got him. The other story is that he was capturing some prisoners, and one of the prisoners decided he didn't want to surrender, pulled out a gun and killed him. Whichever story is true, on finding out Mouton died, the Cajuns went nuts. They went ahead and charged into the battlefield to get revenge for the loss of their favorite general. Next thing you know, Texas troops are sent in, and plus the ones that came in from Texas, and they went ahead and overpowered the Union invasion force. The first wave was wiped out, and they knew that the next wave was at least 6 miles behind and couldn't get there in time to do much of anything. And by the end of the day, the Texans had triumphed on the battlefield. One of the things that they really enjoyed was there was a battery of cannon that they captured that had won a Congressional Medal of Honor. It was supported by the Chicago Mercantile Association, and it had fired on Texas troops at Arkansas Post and at Vicksburg, and it was just an ironic justice when it was Texas troops that finally captured the cannons that had been used against them, and they got a real kick out of that. But this battle ended up stopping General Banks's invasion. The Texas troops literally saved Texas from a lot of the depredations that you saw throughout the South, where farms were burned down and livestock slaughtered and stuff, just to keep it out of the hands of the people. The Texas troops, soon after that, no rest for them. They ended up having to go up into Arkansas and beat another part of this movement that was coming down towards Shreveport. So, and they marched most of the way. These guys were tough. They could march, 10 to 15 miles a day, which that doesn't sound like much, but when you're loaded down with equipment, marching 10 to 15 miles a day, that's quite an accomplishment. But the Battle of Mansfield doesn't always get talked about. I wanted to go ahead and talk about it today because it did save us from a lot of war damage. So, a big thanks to the Texas units that were involved. I would list them, but there's so many. Tom Green's Cavalry, Walker's Greyhounds, Lycan's Cavalry, many others. But if you have any questions, concerns, feel free to leave your comments below. I'll be glad to get to them. Thank you for tuning in today. And until next time, this is Jeff Murrah wishing you vaya con Dios, my friends. Goodbye.